couch. This ended up leading to a fight between me and my boyfriend because he thinks we should go along with his parents' wishes to make them feel more comfortable. I'm feeling really conflicted. In my gut, I feel very uncomfortable with the amount of control his parents are trying to exert in this situation. Being told I can't share a room with my boyfriend when we sleep at each other's places regularly and have been on vacations together, which his parents are aware of, makes me feel pretty frustrated. But I don't want to disrespect their culture and religious beliefs, and I don't want to create unnecessary drama. Should I just suck it up, get my own hotel room despite his parents wanting everyone to be together, not go to the wedding, interested to hear people's thoughts?
Wow.
Yeah.
Did I submit this story?
The thing that is weird is like, they are on the opposite side of the country, staying at each other's places all the time, going on vacations. The parents know. Like at this point, they know. They've been together for 5 years. They're 30 and 28.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like they are full-on adults. I do think it's strange. Like these people have been together 5 years. This family is trying to pretend that they have never had sex and that they don't have sex. Like just while they're on this trip together, it feels like. And it feels like all of their decisions are like sexually pointed. You know, they're like, no, we don't want you to get a hotel room for you two to do your little sexual getaway. You should be the family and not have any sexual getaways at all.
It's also not like a
not
family
angled
gathering.
enough.
It's a friend of the family.
I don't know why, but I always
Not
make my
necessarily
angles too
like,
weak.
Oh, we did this for the family. It's like, no, we all happen to be going.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just like the parent. I can understand like all this rhetoric from the parents. I'm like, this is typical parent rhetoric.
Yeah.
Of like, no, like then you don't get to spend as much time with us. Like you're staying in a hotel room down the hallway. Like,
Right.
shit.
And it's like, who actually like parties in the hotel room with the family? Like maybe you have like a movie night or something, but that's easily
It's not.
doable.
It's gonna be stressful. It's gonna.
It feels like they want everyone to be under the same roof because so then they can operate under the rules that they have.
Yeah.
But it's like, why doesn't the brother just be honest? If this conservative family doesn't want any coitus occurring while on this
I
trip,
don't think coitus would be occurring. Like,
exactly.
Coitus,
Like,
coitus
what
would
is
be
the
occurring.
like these
Coitus
people?
occurs in the suite, the separate bedrooms.
I mean, you know, people gonna do what they're gonna do, but like, it wouldn't happen. Like, it's a family trip.
Right.
Why doesn't the brother just share the pull-out couch with grandma or share the second bedroom
No,
with
yeah.
grandma? And then the couple's on the couch, and that's fine.
I thought the logic was gonna be the grandma gets the bed because she's grandma. She's
Right, she needs a bed.
Yeah.
Don't put grandma on the
Pull-out
couch.
couch can
Grandma on the
suck.
pull-out couch is foul.
That's a little vicious. I was
Yeah.
like, don't put grandma on a pull-out couch.
No,
That sucks.
that's worse than a home.
She's not
So
gonna
many
get up.
She's falling out of pull-out couch.
You gotta fold her
Can't get
into the couch after she's done. You put her to rest.
I think it's a classic case of like the guy kind of being in the middle of like wanting to respect his family's wishes, but also being like, I want to listen to my girlfriend. And that is arguably a very tough position to be in. I acknowledge that, but there needs to be a certain point when you kind of stand up to your family and say like, hey, I am a full-grown adult. I need to be able to make decisions with my long-term partner. And if what makes both of us comfortable is getting a separate hotel room, like you need to respect that, or
Thank
be
you.
able to stay in the same suite under our terms.
I think it is a good red flag here of like, this is how he lets his family control him. Like, if he's not going to change that, that's something you got to be prepared for.
Yeah, like
You
this
marry
is
this
one
guy,
of
have
those
kids with
moments-
him, like, his family's going to have
No, like
power.
this is one of those moments where it's like, okay, time to set a precedent. Of
Yeah.
like, all right, no, this is the boundary we have. So like, they were already
Thanks, Will.
willing and down to have a room, a separate room, and that's like a grown adult way to handle the situation.
Yeah.
And then the compromise is not, no, you still do what we want and still be sharing a room with another person. It's no, we'll get our own hotel room, but we'll make sure to spend every moment with you guys as a family, because a friend's wedding is not the time to be pressing family values into a situation.
Yeah.
It's not the family's wedding, it's a friend.
Exactly.
Right. And it's like a weird situation of like trying to please everybody, which
Yeah.
is why I think boundaries is a big word. Like you kind of have to learn. There's a way to say no without it being like you.
Right. Several comments here. 4 to 5 nights? Nope, absolutely the fuck not. The lack of privacy would test my
4 to
sanity.
5
The bigger
nights?
issue is your boyfriend letting his parents dictate where you sleep and what you can do with your own money.
Could
based
you
on
imagine
religion.
sharing
That's
a room
bright
in a
red
hotel
flag
with
about how
strangers?
you
Like, you don't know those
choose to
people.
deal with this man. Don't ignore it. Someone
I don't think I've done 4 to 5 nights in a hotel room with my family. I think the most we've gone is like 3.
Someone
Yeah,
said,
that's
you guys
crazy.
are 28 and 30. That's absurd of them to try to treat you like children. You've also been together for 5 years. They know you've been intimate. It's one thing if they don't want to pay for you and your boyfriend's room because of their beliefs. That would be fine. The problem is them trying to stop you from paying for your own.
Are you trying to say I'm not
That's
funny?
Trying to control you. I wouldn't allow it. What else will they try to control next?
Is that what you're trying to say, Willow?
I would absolutely pay for my own room. Lastly, someone said,
Is that what you're trying to imply to me?
6 people in a 2-bedroom suite sounds horrible.
Because I just want you to
28,
know,
they're not
I
parents. They
resent
can't
that.
insist on bupkis. If you want your own room, get your own room. Your boyfriend
So
can sleep
many
in your room if he finds a pair and stands
So
up to
many
his parents,
times.
or he can sleep in his parents' room with his brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you actually think
I'm
that,
like, that's
Willow, or if you're
amazing.
just trying to make me feel
All he
better.
had to say to his parents was just like, no, we're getting our own room.
Yeah.
That's it.
No, and it's true. I want to acknowledge, like, I understand
I've
how
noticed.
that can be difficult to stand up to your parents. I see that it is difficult to advocate, especially growing up, like, in this religious conservative household. Like, if that is the case, I can see where it might be difficult for the first time to step back and be like, hold on, I have to say no.
Nice save.
And if you're living across the country from each other, I'm sure it's like he's been probably having his independence, and then when he goes back
So
to his family,
I'm
maybe it's almost like a trigger where he's like, I have to listen to them because they're my
Oh,
parents.
my eye.
It's one of those things where you see your parents so.
I mean, I'm also
so
talking.
rarely or not as often that when you do, you're just like, all right, whatever, we'll just do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it's not a constant thing.
Yeah.
What if boyfriend hasn't been honest with the family about their intimate life?
Ooh.
Oh.
And so
But she says
if-
they're aware that they've gone on vacations together.
yeah.
Oh, yeah,
but that's
yeah.
not.
But just saying. Like,
Now there's 2.
Oh, no,
What if-
vacation is coitus.
What if BF has been leading this religious traditional family to believe that they've been operating under the same values? If that's
Possible.
not the case. Still, I agree with the comment. It's like it's controlling when it goes beyond, like when they were trying to just have their own room and then being like, no, you can't spend your own money.
Yeah.
I also think it's a very like like our parents' generation mindset to just kind of pretend they don't know, or it's like it's
Yeah.
so obvious, but they
Yeah, that
still
sounds good.
try to act like.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just like
yeah, yeah.
choosing not to perceive something that doesn't serve what
Exactly.
you believe about.
Yeah. There's a way to go about it if it's all under the same like household or roof of like these are what we believe in. But the easy solution she provided, which was like, okay, I'm just gonna stay in my own hotel room, and then they were like, no, you can't do that.
That's where it's.
Yeah, when they say you can't do something,
All right. Next story.
Dang, no.
you're not gonna tell me what to do.
I was like, did it just hit you?
No.
This next story, I believe I submitted.
So many.
I found this one, and this one's crazy. And I've
Am I
been,
the asshole?
and I've been seeing.
Put me in a Raja or a bitch.
Are a single.
We knew it.
So this post I found, and there's been several posts similar to it. I think it might be a little bit of a trend on Reddit. Just a couple I've seen.
Okay.
But this one I found, and I was like, gotta send this in. This comes from Am I the Asshole? Am I the asshole for threatening my wife with
No, I'm out of
divorce
school.
after she quit her job
Thank
to
fuck.
be a trad wife?
Oh.
I'm not familiar.
Trad wife is it's on TikTok and stuff. It's
No, I
traditional
graduated
wife.
school like
Oh,
2,
So
3
women
years
who
ago.
are like, I'm a trad wife.
A
Like
trad
I'm a
What I
stay at
gotta
home.
do?
Like I want to
the
just
home.
cook. I keep the home, cook meals for my husband, all that stuff.
Oh, okay.
But it's yeah, you'll see in
Okay.
this story
Okay, yeah.
how it's perceived.
Okay.
I don't even know where to begin with this. Me, a 34-year-old man, and my wife, a 33-year-old woman, have 2 kids together, 11 and 9. Me and my wife
All right,
have been
bye,
together
Willow.
for 12 years and married for 8. Around a year ago, I noticed my wife increasingly sending me these trad wife or traditional housewife TikToks. I have nothing against the type of relationship, but I don't think it makes sense for our current family situation. I do earn quite a bit more than my wife and enough to sustain our family on my own, but I don't see the need to do so. I work 80% and my wife 50%, and besides Wednesdays when both of us are working, either one of us is always home for the kids. I could work 100% and let my wife be a stay-at-home mom, but again, Both of my kids are attending school, and in my mind, there is no need for my wife to be at home 24/7. She got increasingly pushy about it over the past 2 months, and again, I just kept on telling her that there wasn't any need for that, and if we did decide to go down that route, what would she be doing during the hours my kids attended school? I know damn well our house doesn't need to be clean for 6 hours a day. She would constantly try to butter me up with, you would have dinner ready every day when coming home from work, and something about unlimited blowjobs or some BS like that. Again, in the nicest way possible, I would remind her that our kids weren't toddlers and our current work-life schedule allowed us to function perfectly fine. We got into a pretty heated argument 2 weeks ago about it, and my wife completely stopped having sex with me to show me what I would be missing out on. She's basically been treating me like a roommate since. I just thought she would get over it and this was just a phase, but God, I was wrong. I came home from work yesterday and saw a bunch of presents on the dining table. At first I thought they were all for me since my birthday was in a week, but then I saw the labels on them addressed to my wife. I read one of the letters attached to one of the presents. The last sentence on it was literally, "It was such a pleasure working alongside you and I wish you all the best moving forwards." I thought this was some sick prank. A few minutes later, my wife just casually strolled into the living room acting like nothing was wrong. I guess she saw my mad expression and had the audacity to tell me, "You'll get over it." I just lost it. I just left without saying another word and went to my parents' house. I feel absolutely disrespected. Why the fuck would my wife think it was okay to just quit her job without telling me and just expect me to be fine with it? My wife has been bombarding me with texts and calls demanding to know where I am and that the kids miss me. I just told her to go find a lawyer and that I was done with her and then proceeded to block her. My son just sent me a voicemail crying and asking why I was divorcing mom and if I was leaving the family, and I guess that kind of broke my heart. I haven't responded and honestly don't know what to say to him. My mother-in-law has also been demanding that I return home and apologize to my wife. My parents also seem to be siding with my wife since they are traditional Muslims.
You don't have to
My mom
return
also needs to
home.
be a stay-at-home mom. I feel like I'm wrong for immediately jumping to divorce without hearing her out, and besides this whole job drama. I love my wife too much for this to be the end of our otherwise perfect marriage, but on the other hand, I feel like I've lost complete trust in her. Should I just swallow my pride and let my wife stay at home from now on, or should I follow through
Is
on
this
divorcing her?
pride though?
How
She
should I
completely.
navigate
It's not even
this
about
situation?
disrespect. She
Dude, unlimited blowjob?
ignored you.
That's tough. That's really tough. I mean, the main issue is like they didn't like work that out together.
Right.
Yeah.
I think like if you want to be a trad wife, that is like your back. Like do that. But I think the important thing is it's like trad wife. It's not something that she can just choose to go do by herself. It requires a partnership. It requires she would be a trad wife. It makes sense that if they were both like it wanted that, where the husband is like, I want to be the one who provides for our family while you take care of our, like, she just wanted to take on this different lifestyle, it felt like. And ultimately, the fact that she went ahead and quit her job, which is a big life change when you have kids that you're supporting, without even discussing, like, hey, I'm going to do this. That's tough. That's really tough.
Their communication is really bad. Like, in general.
It sounds like he tried.
He did try, yeah. I mean, I see his side throughout all of it until he left without even telling his kids, and his kids are like just clueless. Like, I'm just like, to just kind of bounce and abandon your kids in that manner. That's the only thing where I'm like, hey, dude, her behavior was ridiculous. I was fully on his side, and I'm still on his side in regards to their relationship dynamic, but that aspect, I'm like, don't.
His kids probably think that he just like abandoned them.
You have kids, you have to, like, even when your partner's being irrational, I feel like you have to consider your kids in that situation. I'm not saying you can't divorce her, but how you go about divorcing her is one thing.
Yeah,
you can't just
how
even
you go
block
about
her.
it.
You are ghosting your kids.
Yeah, I think there's such a big part of like, you know, there's
So
such
from what I
fairness
looked up,
in
orcs
both
are just like
sides, I
green
think. Like,
people
I can
who are
see,
slightly taller.
this woman
But I'm gonna give
wanting
her
almost this
different
life for
pupils, so I
herself.
think that's
She's
cool.
obviously seeking a lot of content out of it too, and she's consuming a lot of content and being like, oh, this sounds like something that I'd really be interested in. Like, I want to try this. And it sounds like maybe they were navigating some sort of conversation in the beginning about it. And then that's when everything kind of started to go south, because she would hear no, and and would be like, okay, well, then I want this and this and this, or like I'm going to threaten to just leave my job. Like she's kind of taking all of these extra measures instead of continuing to talk about their disagreement.
Yeah.
And then he kind of responds to the sudden job quitting by fleeing and ignoring the kids. And so then all of that fallout is where it gets really messy.
Yeah.
But their initial conversation, like, it's okay to disagree. It's just kind of how you work to understand each other, and that's what they're really lacking.
They started off. It felt like it was just a bargaining thing the whole time. Like sharks. I present to you. I want to be a trad wife. It's
Right.
like no, because this, and it's instead of being like, I feel like if he started off by asking her like, why does this matter to you all of a sudden? Like, you know, you've been married 12 years. You have kids who are now in elementary school. Why? Now, like, what is it about it? Is it something you really think you'd want to commit to?
Yeah.
Or is it just the job that you're not enjoying?
Yeah,
just
like-
trying to
Hi, Duolingo.
understand it. On the other end as well, like, I think he could do a better job of communicating. Like, he said that whole, like,
Oh,
80
hi,
to
Sheldon.
100%. He could say something like, it's too much for me, because then I'll have to work more. Like, again, it's just that trying to understand each other and why you want what you want. That way you don't just end up being like, well, forget you, because I want what I want, and walk out. Like, that's
Forget
not a
you
partnership.
and
Yeah, no, that's so
Get
true.
her
And you know,
too.
she's saying like, this is what I want, and he was even considering it, being like, yeah, like I guess it like financially could work, but it's not what he wanted. And I think the reasoning that he brought as to why she shouldn't felt weird. Like it almost sounded controlling in a way where it's like, what are you gonna do all day?
Yeah.
But like that's not really fair. I think one thing that should be taken seriously is like when people are married, they're agreeing to a life together, and so you're planning.
What do you guys know?
I mean, barely. Like, but like, so they need to be on an agreement of like, especially when there's kids involved, like on how they're gonna do that. And like in my personal opinion, I'm like, any bit of income matters so much when you have people that you're bringing into this world. So like, I don't think that the way that she handled it is fair. I do think that it's weird that he's just like, yeah, I think she'll just like get over it, right? But it's like, no, you could have tried harder.
Yeah, and I mean, their communication, I think, is the real issue here. But the trad wife stuff, I think, is really fascinating because it is this internet trend.
Yeah.
And I think it's coming at the same time as like this whole alpha male thing. And what's funny to me about the trad wife thing, and there's nothing wrong with any dynamic that people consent to, and they're like, this is our dynamic, right? But the trad wife thing, I think, I've thought about it a lot, and I'm like, they're basing it off this like mythologized 50s aesthetic. It wasn't even the real version of it, but it's also in this current era, which is so different than back then. I'm like, yeah, the way like dynamics worked back in the 1800s was different because you were surviving. Like nowadays, I'm like, it's a little different. It's but you're trying, but it's also not real. It's similar to an alpha male is not a real thing.
Right.
That their whole, it's all based on.
Like, sure, it sounds great to not have to work a job. That sounds fucking awesome.
Right.
But it's like, and it's a very.
I don't know why I
very
give the
privileged
Adam
to be even
symbol
in
to
a
her.
position where you can consider that. But I ultimately think she's just kind of putting her wants before his.
If I'm thinking correctly too, like I definitely have seen the TikToks of like, you know, come with me like as a housewife or like as a work from home or just like a mom who doesn't have a job but like is at home all day, like those things. Full-time stay-at-home mom, like those kinds of things where they just like they grocery shop and then they do like their window shopping and stuff. Like it's very idealized on TikTok.
Yeah.
So I can also imagine that she's probably seeing that and she's like, oh, well maybe I could just, you know, really take my time and just enjoy my life while my husband goes and works. And I'm okay with that. And I'm not supposed to be okay with that, but I am, and that's what makes it okay.
Yeah,
you know?
I've gotten served the TikTok stuff too. There's a couple famous like trad wife types of things, and they are always doing like.
I don't have any more phone storage, so I'm just
they're
gonna.
They're not doing actual traditional stay-at-home parent things, which is like you're dealing with dirty shit all day.
I don't have more phone storage, so I'm just gonna. I don't think we'll be able to post anything else on
It is hard, and I
on
think there's a
YouTube.
lot of YouTubers, including like Chris Collins, friend of the channel, who's talked about it, where it's like, that's amazing for you, and that you and your husband.
Should I
are
close right
living
now?
that life, and you
I've only
guys
been
spend
live
time
for 20 minutes.
together.
Sure.
Because like I think that's really
Together.
it's kind of sad that she's expecting him to take on the entire load of providing
So
for the
many
family
times.
financially, because that's
So
a
many
lot.
times.
Especially when your kids are at school. Like,
Yeah, and you know, like there is a lot of things that can be done when you're properly taking care of the house. There is, and like age doesn't really change.
I think no matter what, the key is that it's like the relationship should be equal. And like,
Yeah, like this
and
doesn't sound like a
I
compatible
think that's
marriage.
what I mean.
Yeah.
Like in actual, when you're talking about actual traditional housewife, I would even say it wasn't equal. It was more work. Like,
Oh,
it was
yeah.
totally more work.
Right.
And in
Oh,
this
yeah.
context, this isn't. They're not talking about reality here. They're talking about what they're getting served on the internet.
Yeah. And then she's like trying to sweeten the deal by being like unlimited blowjobs all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, which is what I just think it. That
And then
gives me a lot of
withholding,
pause. Like, strange. The verdict was not the asshole. Comments: nothing wrong with being a stay-at-home parent, but your partner has to agree to it, and you don't get to strong-arm them into this. This level of blatant manipulation would be a deal breaker for me, not the asshole. Someone said, I'd leave. That's manipulative as hell. Let her be a trad wife with some other sucker. And then lastly, someone said, not the asshole for divorcing her, but dude, call your kids back.
Yeah,
You seriously left them without speaking to them and have been ignoring them since? Someone said, this 100%, get your butt back home and be a parent in the meantime.
Yeah.
I fully agree about that.
Yeah.
He is in the clear for me, except for that.
Until
Then
he does that.
And that's arguably, I
Thanks.
think, the worst thing. In my view, that's the worst thing done
Oh,
in the story.
completely.
but-
The crying voicemail and then him being
That's
like, I haven't
devastating.
answered yet.
And to be honest, with how manipulative she was,
Thanks.
who knows what she's saying to the kids. Like,
Totally.
Like, dude, don't.
But it's like it's his responsibility. It's like it makes sense that you left, of course, but you have children. You cannot just leave them behind.
Exactly. All right, next story.
No, I don't really have OCs. I have a couple, but I don't.
I'm sure.
I don't really
that
drum
we're
them
probably
much.
gonna end up with more trad wife stories on Reddit stories.
It's the
because
trad fad.
it's similar to we get these alpha male stories.
Right, but if they find each other and they're freaking living and loving and laughing,
Something tells me they would not be happy.
Not living nor laughing.
I don't think any alpha male is actually in a workout.
only on full moons.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I don't even know what that means.
It means you like a wolf.
All right, next story. This comes from Am I the Asshole? Am I the asshole for not letting my sister walk down the aisle at
I just
my
did this
wedding?
earlier.
This is gonna be good.
Why would she walk down your aisle at your wedding? That doesn't make any sense.
Breakfast right now.
I, a 29-year-old woman, am getting married to the love of my life, a 30-year-old man, in a few months. We were high school lovers and childhood friends.
Wait.
He's truly my best friend and everything I want. in
Thank
life.
you.
However, we
I
both
appreciate
decided
it.
to wait until we were
Appreciate
well
the
off to get
compliments.
married, so we could have our once-in-a-lifetime magical moment. My sister, Stacy, who's 21, got married
Stacy's
at 19 to someone
mom has
who I
got
like,
it
but I'm not
going
super
on.
close with. They were together for 5 months before he proposed. Their wedding was rushed, and half our family couldn't even make it
Yeah.
because of how soon it was planned.
I
and
think
set
I
up.
need a mechanical
It was
pencil for
small
these.
and just in the courtroom. No dress, party, etc. Just a legal wedding. However, my wedding is around $19,000, and we haven't even finished everything. It took us ages to set everything up and save. Stacy recently came up to me while coming over. We're close and have dinner once a week at my place, and asked if she could walk down my aisle and meet her husband so she could feel like a bride. I laughed and asked if she was serious, and she was. She claims she never got her magic moment and just wants to feel special once. But it's my wedding and my special day, she had hers. Stacy claims it will only be between us and it won't take away from me. But then I asked what she
Thanks,
might wear,
Onyx.
and she showed me pictures on her phone of wedding dresses. Hard no for me. She then asked again yesterday in front of my fiance, and I think it was an attempt to pressure me. He laughed and said no, thinking it was a joke like I did the first time. My mother and Stacy's husband say I'm being an asshole because Stacy still isn't rich, so she can't afford another wedding even if she wanted one, but neither are I and my future husband. We just planned for years. I just wanted one day for myself, but maybe I'm blowing it up because she never got the bridal experience.
No! Stacy!
Stacy!
Girl, what are you doing?
Stacy!
I want chocolate
Stacy?
so fucking bad.
I thought it was gonna be different.
I'm gonna say a really douchey thing.
Go off, bride.
Oh, I can't wait.
But like, Stacy's gonna get
Thanks.
her opportunity when she gets married again. I'm just being honest. She's saying she got married at 19 after meeting a guy knowing him for 5 months.
So
Gotta
casual
go.
and
Like, I'm
cool,
sorry.
Shane. I loved
I'm
it.
sorry. Like, Stacy statistically
You burned my eyebrows off of that.
Statistically speaking,
Stacy's a
Stacy and this guy are probably not going to work out. And Stacy's
I don't have any motivation. God, I hate being on my period.
She'll date another guy and she'll get married.
Yeah, I'm gonna head out.
Actually be like kind of the real marriage.
That was the
Stacy's mom has got it going.
Oh my god.
I'm sorry. Look.
Bye.